Jivakshanam vachadikam tamate vimoda. Yate padapshamakalam tamasi katish. Vaksmas maroma nakakesha pidana manta. Amsasthirakta kemivit kafavinta pad. Jivakshanam vachadikam tamate vimoda. Yate padapshamakalam tamasi katish. For translation. Tvak with skin, smasro, whiskers, roma, bodily hair, naka, nails, kesha, and hair on the head, pinadam, covered, anta, inside, mamsa, flesh, asti, bones, rakta, blood, krimi, worms, vit, stool, kapha, mucus, pitta, bile, vatam, and air, jivat, living, savam, a corpse, bhajati, worships, kanta, as husband or lover, matihi, whose idea, vimudha, totally bewildered, ya, who, te, your, padabhya, of the lotus feet, makarandam, the honey, ashikati, not smelling, stray, woman. You have an idea what it is about? Translation. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus she accepts as her husband or lover a living corpse covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, and body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, features, mucus, bile, and air. Purport. The disciples of A.C. Bhaktivinoda Swami Srila Prabhupada came. Here, Lord Krishna's chaste wife makes a quite unequivocal statement about material sense gratification based on the physical body. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments as follows on this verse: on the authority of the statement Savayapati Shya Akuto Vayasvayam. He indeed should become one's husband who can remove all fears. Sri Krishna is the real husband for all women at all times. Thus, a woman who worships someone else as her husband simply worships her dead body. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti comments further. Rukmini thus considers that although the sweetness of Lord Krishna's lotus feet is well known, and although he possesses an eternal body full of knowledge and bliss, foolish women reject him. An ordinary husband's body is covered on the outside by skin and hair, otherwise being filled with blood pieces, flesh, bile, and so on. It would be overwhelmed with flies and other vermin attracted by its bad smell and offensive qualities. Those who have no practical experience of the beauty and purity of Krishna or Krishna consciousness may be confused by such uncompromising denunciations of material bodily gratification. But those who are enlightened in Krishna consciousness will be enlightened and enthused by such absolute beautiful, by such absolutely beautiful statement. I read the verse once again. Svasmaromanakakesha pidantamantam mamsastiraktakrimivit kafapittavatam shivakshvanam vajotikantamati vimuda yate padapyamakarandamachihati shri. Translation. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally baffled. And thus he accepts as her husband a lover, a living corpse, covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, and body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, fishes, mucus, bile, and hair. Om Jnana Dimandasya Janam Chakshun Militam Yena Tasmani Shigove Nama Chichitayamanopastam Staptapin Yena Bhutalishvam Upgadamyam Dadati Svapanantikam Vandeham Shiyo Shiyuda Padkam Shigom Vaishnavam Sa Sirupam Sarasanatam Sagam Ragnatam Vichnatam Sativam Satvetam Savlutam Parjana Saitam Sikrishna Chitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakanalita Shivishakam Vitamsa Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandha Chatpate Gopesha Kokakanta State Tapta Kanchna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwar Vishamana Sutta Devi Panamama Kripaye Panka Kalta Vishan Kripa Sindhuvish Padnam Pamanabhyo Vaishnavyo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachani Desata Srila Prabhupada Ki Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments on this verse. Savaipati Akutobaya Svayam. He indeed should become one's husband who can remove all fear. So only Krishna can remove all our fear. So he should become our husband. Queen Rukmini says. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, yes, Krishna is the real husband for all women at all times. So I remember a man came to Srila Prabhupada somewhere in India and said that your Krishna is immoral. He dances with other wives. And Prabhupada became angry and said, you are immoral. That you think your wife is yours, but no, that the real husband for all women at all times is Krishna. So he said, you are immoral, he said. And that's a fact from the spiritual viewpoint. That's a fact. So Lord Krishna possesses a different body than described here. He doesn't have a body covered with skin, whiskers, nail, hair, body hair, no bones, blood, parasites, mucus, fire, and air. So he has a body made of Satchitananda, an eternal body full of knowledge and bliss. But Queen Rukmini said, but foolish man, a foolish woman, she said, they reject him. That we have the last part of the purport. Yeah. Those who have no practical experience of the beauty and purity of Krishna or Krishna consciousness may be confused by such uncompromising denunciation of the material bodily gratification, but those who are enlightened in Krishna consciousness will be enlivened and enthused by such absolute, truthful statements. That Jiva Goswami, there are commentaries not only from Vishwanath, Chakravarti Thakur, but also Jiva Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Jiva Goswami said, because of seeing only the body elements inside and outside, the woman who considers a man to be her lover is seeing a corpse. That's yes, it's very graphic. But it becomes more realistic, he says. If you take the insides which are of the body, which are held together by the skin, that if you would put it outside, then it will immediately be covered with flies, insects that attracted to the foul odor. So not the best smell. If the innards of the body were to come outside, people would need to take sticks to drive away dogs and cows. But your body, Krishna says, is made of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So Rukmini, she wanted to give up her material body to be qualified to worship. That and Jiva Goswami mentioned in the purport here, it refers to, indirectly it refers to the Munichari gopis. There were 2 million years before, in the pastimes of Lord Ram, there were great self-realized sages. They came to the platform of Raghanuga. They became attracted to Lord Ram. And what they wanted to have with Lord Ram, a relationship in conjugal love. So when Lord Ram was in exile and he visited all these sages in the Dandakaranya forest, he came across them and they expressed their desire to have such a relationship with him. And Lord Ram said, no, that's in my incarnation, Ekapatni, that I have only one wife, Sita. But at the end of Dwapara Yuga, I will come back. I will come back as Krishna, and then you can have that relationship with him, with me. So they took all birth in the wombs of goddess. So they were sadhakas who attained, who became purified, nearly purified, because They are called the Munichari gopis, I think. Yeah. There are different kinds of groups of gopis, but they were not yet on the level as the Nitya Siddha gopis, the gopis who came from Golok to the earth, eternal associates of Krishna. But they took birth in the wombs of such gopis, and they were trained further to attain perfection. So when it was time for the rasa dance, Krishna played his flute, and all these gopis became attracted. They had to come, nothing that would stop them. But all these Munichari gopis, they wanted also to go, but they were stopped by their family members. And by that, their desire was burning inside and was so strong that they sat down in meditation on Krishna, and they, by that strong desire, they purified, they became completely purified. They got a transcendental body, a body qualified for participating with Krishna in the rasa dance. They got a qualified body, a spiritual body. And therefore, Rukmini is thinking, yeah, but I have a material body. I'm not qualified. I should give that up to get a qualified body. Because she's thinking like that we have heard in the previous verses that she presented herself as a conditioned soul rotating through the cycle of birth and death again. So that Rukmini was thinking like that. I should give up this material body and become qualified to worship. But she thinks herself not qualified because she's an expansion of Radharani. She's the head of all the Lakshmis. But she's thinking like that. So, because she was also, Queen Rukmini was also remembering Pingala. Pingala is the story of Pingala, the prostitute, is you find in the 11th canto. That and that's chapter 8, I think. After mentioning the 24 ghosts, the Avadhuta Brahman, Dattatreya, he tells the story of Pingala. That's she was in a similar situation because she was in Mithila, an ancient city in India, and she was a prostitute. So she was posing her at the door, showing her beautiful body, and men came, and one after another she was thinking, this man will be able to pay for my love. so but nobody stopped, and it became after midnight, and she became so disgusted that detachment came into her heart. That of course she was a devotee of Krishna already. That it's not that everyone who is frustrated in this world that they create attachment. No. But the great attachment came into her life. And she started to realize that, yes, my real husband is Krishna. And I try to to sell this body also full of stool, mucus, bile. That is abominable. So she also wanted to have a qualified body, and she criticized her present body. And that's also similar. It's, so that is Jiva Goswami. Sanatan Goswami, the woman who does not smell the honey of the lotus feet of you who are endowed with eternity, knowledge and bliss, is completely without intelligence. Vimuda. That is what Queen Rukmini says. All these wives, who have married all these kings, so-called kings, and she has described the bodies of the king, that they are vimuda, in illusion. And this is a fact. So the illusory energy has two functions. First, you have the covering function. That's the first function. And the second function is it drags you down. The first covering and then drags you, it degrades you. So it covers your intelligence, illusory energy, the three modes which let you think you are this body, and you think this body is a source of pleasure, and there you go. And then if you you try to enjoy the body, then you get frustrated and so on. And you have the eightfold path of fall down. Yes, which is explained in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verses 22, 62, 63. Dayate visyatum samsangaste spadvaite sangha sanyate kamakam ode pichayate. These are the first stages. You start to meditate on this on something in this world. And that is interesting. Meditation. You meditate on something, dayate. You think, I'm going to enjoy it. But then when the enjoyment comes, it's not really what expected. And then frustration comes. So lust develops to this meditation and things for one's enjoyment. That is Maya, the two functions. That's how it drags you down through this. That's a process of fall down. But first it covers your intelligence. And Queen Rukmini explains how all the other queens are vimudas. That they are completely without intelligence. Completely without intelligence. Spiritual intelligence. That's the real intelligence. Because that's intelligence related to our real self. Also, we need also two kinds of knowledge. Spiritual knowledge, but also knowledge of this material world. Doesn't she Upanishad? One needs vidya and avidya, both, to attain liberation. Vidya means I'm a spirit soul. Knowledge of one's constitutional position. And avidya means knowledge of this material world. Knowledge that this body is composed out I'm not going to repeat all the ingredients, but that's knowledge. That's not really relishable. But Queen Kunti says, yes, Queen Rukmini says, you are completely different from these kings. That you are excellent and they are disgusting. So the women thinking that the man is beautiful, Kantamati, is actually foolish, being devoid of fragment of your lotus feet. So if one has attraction for the body of the husband, then it's a problem. Then you can become attracted to Krishna's lotus feet. And we see that also when we have we have also from the 10th canto the story of the wives of the Brahmins, right? Wives of the Brahmins, and how they became attracted to Krishna by hearing from the Kodindas, the forest dwellers, who had seen Krishna every day in the forest. And they were telling about Krishna and they became attracted to Krishna. And finally, we know that when they got the occasion to cook for Krishna, they came in association of Krishna. Because the cowherd boys were begging for that, and they were first begging from their husbands. But the husbands were busy with ritualistic sacrifices for going to heaven. And they were busy with all these technical details. And when the cowherd boys, on behalf of Krishna and Balaram, asked for some food, they said they didn't even speak to them. And then they came back to Krishna, and Krishna says, yes, if you beg, sometimes you are refused. But you ask their wives, and the cowherd boys went to the wives of the Brahmins, and they had heard about Krishna. Immediately they started to cook many preparations and brought them before Krishna. And when they came in association of Krishna, what did Krishna say? So Krishna said, go back to your husband. That it's not by my physical presence that you develop love of me. No, at home you chant, you hear about me, and you perform service to my deity, then you will develop that love. So go home, perform your sadhana. But these wives of the Brahma said, how can we go home? We came here without permission from our husbands. Our husbands, they will reject us now. And Krishna said, don't worry about it, they will not reject you. So they went back to their husbands, and their husbands, they saw something changed in their lives. They realized they don't have any interest in us anymore. Interesting. No interest in their husbands anymore. And thus to Rukmini the same thing happened. No interest in all the other husbands, only Krishna. No interest in other men. She had only Krishna as her husband. Yeah, the same happened with the gopis. The gopis, they had, because their mothers-in-law complained that, and they said, they complained about their, about their daughters-in-law. They said that they really don't have any interest in their husbands. So then some of these mothers-in-law went to Mother Gopal, and they explained that they said to Mother Gopal, you are a Brahman, you know all these sacrifices and so on. We have a problem that our daughters-in-law, they have really no interest in their husband. How can we get them interested again? Well, Mother Gopal said, yes, I can give you some advice, but there's some Dakshini. So he wanted first ladus, sweets. And then Mother Gopal said, okay, I have a remedy. It's simple. Your daughters-in-law, they should do a sacrifice for the sun god every day. But that should be done in the forest. So you should send them out to the forest to collect flowers and different ingredients for the sacrifice. And then the sacrifice is to be performed by qualified Brahman. That the Mother Gopal knew about the desire of Krishna, or he knew about the desire of all these gopis, because these gopis were kept at home, that they could not go out to see Krishna. They were very eager to go out. So Mother Gopal made it possible that they could go out to the forest and see Krishna. So they sent all their daughters out to do that puja for the sun god. And they collected flowers and so on. But they were very happy. They could go and see Krishna. But then of course there was Jatila was also there. That was a game changer. Jatila came to observe them, but then suddenly two Brahmin boys appeared. Especially one was very beautiful with Brahmin dread, and the Brahmin, and one of the Brahmin boys said, "Yeah, we are coming to do the puja for the sun god." Of course, that was Krishna disguised as a Brahmin. And then they did, every day they could do the puja for the sun god. But finally, it didn't help for their husbands. No attraction for their husbands. That, yes, that's what happens when you really become Krishna conscious. No attraction for the husband anymore. Because, So Rukmini states a very fact of reality. It's very graphic, his presentation here. But it's a very fact of reality. So you can think how much we are in illusion. That attached to the body made of bone, skin, flesh, blood, which is very stressful. The body is very stressful. a person who is not Krishna conscious, he will say, this is extreme. There is so much happiness in this world. In other words, we don't use this verse for Sunday feast. That will not go well. But yes, there's so much happiness in this world, but that is a false perception that we are happy in this world. Prabhupada writes that in Nectar of Devotion, or in Nectar of Instruction, I think. One who thinks that there is happiness in this world is not ready to take up Krishna consciousness with determination. It's not going to happen. But what we take as happiness in this world is absence of distress. Like the desire to eat. We eat to get rid of the hunger, which is a pain. But we think we are enjoying. So if one is not Krishna conscious, one is influenced by these modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And we are forced to act according to these modes. Like we see in the Bhagavatam, the story of King Indra. King Indra in heaven, he was with Uma, I think his consort, was sitting on a throne, and they received puja by all the other demigods, and apsaras were dancing before them. Indra became puffed up, and when his spiritual master Brihaspati appeared, he even did not got off from his throne to receive him, so puffed up that and Brihaspati, his lips were trembling, and he left without, he disappeared. And Prabhupada also, when his lips were trembling, he was really angry. He would not say anything, but he would be really angry. So he violated the etiquette of receiving the spiritual master properly. And then, of course, the demons heard about that, and Bali Maharaj was doing puja for their spiritual master, Sukracharya, and they became empowered. And Bali Maharaj and Indra lost all his powers, and therefore, immediately, the demons declared war against Indra and invaded the heavenly planets and conquered them. But when Durvasa Muni, of course, when we perform devotional service, one must be never ask any honor for oneself and give all honor to others. And then the creeper of devotion will grow. But Indra, he became puffed up, and Durvasa Muni came to know it. And he cursed Indra to become a hog for 1 year. He became a pig for 1 year. And then, of course, he became a hog. He got many children and became attached to the children. And when Brahma after 1 year, he came to Indra in the form of a hog and said, "We need you. You have to take up your post again in heaven. So please give up that body and come again, perform your service." And Indra said, "No, I'm too what with my children here." He became so attached. In whatever body we are becoming attached, and we think this is the best. That so much attachment to the body. But yes, but here in the verse that when you have when you become attracted to the beauty of Krishna, then you lose that attraction. So that's Janyatya Sivahyo. So if you perform devotional service, then naturally that the attachment for matter and knowledge will develop. Naturally will develop that. So if you become attached to Krishna, you become attached for matter. That's our way to develop the attachment that is in Bhagavad Gita also. That when we become attached to Krishna, we become detached from matter. Like that when Satyabhama heard from Krishna about that Rukmini got a parijata flower from heaven, she became a little envious and said to Krishna, "I also want one." But if you have smelled the parijata flower from heaven, you don't have attraction for the flowers of this world anymore. And the same thing. In this world, we can be fooled at every moment that unless we are Krishna consciousness, we cannot become free from attachment to this material world. But we need this paramdristvanivartate, this higher taste to give up the lower taste. How to do that? I was just studying the 11th canto, Bhagavad Gita, and there Krishna gives advice how to conquer this mouth. The first thing he said that first defeat passion and ignorance by living in goodness. That's the first step for a devotee to become Krishna conscious. We adopt a lifestyle in the mode of goodness. That means we get up early in the morning, we take a shower, that we live clean. Because after passing stool every time taking a shower, otherwise, wherever you come, you contaminate and so on. That we are supposed even not to touch our head. No, that I know. I try also to adopt it that when you touch something, then you purify. Pishima, she had also such also always water with her. Wherever she would go or sit down, she would purify. But anyway, adopt a life in goodness, and that's the lifestyle of a devotee. Clean clothes every day and so on. And pure, you eat at certain moments during the day and not between when you are hungry. No, you eat regulated time. That's goodness. Otherwise, yeah, if we eat between things because we are hungry, that's the mode of passion, then we get impassion. And then we are controlled by this passion. Also, goodness is binding, but it gives more freedom. It, it is the slightest covering of material modes. You can, in goodness, theoretically understand, but you are not this body. That, and then when you have conquered the mode of the three modes, you come to goodness. Then Krishna says, then you have to transcend goodness, coming to transcendence by performing devotional service. It's not easy to come out of these modes. There's the story of Narada Muni. He came from Vaikuntha and he came to see on earth Krishnadas. Krishnadas was a married man that, and Narada Muni came to see Krishnadas and said to Krishnadas, well, why don't you come with me to Vaikuntha? I take you now to Vaikuntha. That Krishnadas said, yes, that's a good idea. That's one problem. My daughters, I have to marry them, to get them married first. But next time you come, I will go with you to Vaikuntha. So Narada Muni came back 50 years later. That he came to Krishnadas and says, are you ready to go to Vaikuntha? And Krishnadas said, little difficult. I have to take care of these grandchildren. But if the grandchildren are grown up, I will go with you. And then Narada Muni came back 15 years later and came to see Krishnadas. But in the house where Krishnadas was living, where the sons were living, his sons were living, that yes, Krishnadas was not there anymore. But then they told him, yeah, he died last year. So then a little further came he across a dog. And the dog was barking and saying to Narada Muni, don't recognize you. I'm Krishnadas. Krishnadas in a body of a dog. But okay, Narada Muni said, are you now ready to go with me to Vaikuntha? And the dog said, no, there is a problem. That because my family is living here and they have these fields, and these fields are going to be attacked by animals and the crops will go. So I'm guarding these fields. I'm too busy. And Narada said, okay, I will come back later. And then he came back 50 years later. And the dog was not there anymore. But then he heard some noise in the fields, and he saw a serpent. and the serpent, don't you recognize me? I'm Krishnadas. Anyway, then Narada Muni said, yeah, are you coming with me to Vaikuntha? No. He said, no, I'm guarding the rice fields here. Narada Muni went to the house of where his sons were living and said, "There is a serpent in your field," and they went to kill the serpent. And this attachment, the mode of passion and ignorance, that so to get out of it, practice Krishna consciousness and come to goodness. Live a life in goodness. How to cultivate goodness? Krishna gives in the 11th canto 21 ways to change your modes. That's interesting. How to change our modes. That and a few that I remember. You can change your modes by the scriptures you are reading. That we read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and so on. You can change your modes by what you eat, what you drink. You can state you change your modes by association, the kind of people you associate. That yes. Anyway, there are many examples in the Bhagavatam also. But how dangerous this bad association is. That with Subbaramuni, who was a great mystic, who was meditating underwater, and his senses fully under control. But then he saw two fish copulating, and he created attachment for the fish. And he fell down from his position. So dangerous. Therefore, that the chance of fall down is always there. But if we constantly engaged in Sankirtan, that Lord Chaitanya protects us from falling down. Srila Prabhupada gave us the means to protect us against falling down. He gave us Lord Chaitanya's mission, the spreading of Krishna consciousness. And engaging in that mission in one way or another will protect us from falling into illusion. That so Rukmini says, yes, this world is unfit for a gentleman to stay. And that's a fact of reality. That Bhaktivedanta Saraswati said the same thing. This world is not for gentlemen. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Questions?
Thank you for the lecture, my question, although it's not a deep philosophical question. I'm just curious here that the demons invade them plants, but it seems to me that they're not that heavily that the demons also can disturb it. How can I see that?
Yeah, that is explained in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam. That normally to go to heaven, you must perform 100 Asvamedha Shakyas perfectly. then you can go. But why? How is it then that these demons could go to the heavenly plans? They could go on the strength of Sukracharya. But when they arrived in heaven, then Sukracharya said to Bali Maharaj, you are arrived here, but to stay here, you must perform now these 100 Asvamedha Sakyas, otherwise you cannot stay. So Bali Maharaj wanted to go to heaven and become Indra. Of course, it didn't work out because Vamandev changed that. But Vamandev gave different benedictions to Bala Maharaj. So he gave him first the Sutal planet, which is more upland than heaven. But he gave him also the benediction in the next month on that, you will become Indra. That was interesting. That. But they could go there only on the strength of Sukracharya, but they could not stay there unless they became qualified. That's in the Prabhupada's purpose.
So it's only in special occasions then that they can, it's not the regular thing.
No. That's the strength of the Sukracharya. That. Yes.
The first time, when you say that the sages of Namaskaran, they were openly showing their love for God.
Yeah.
I mean, that it's a little strange that like men go approach, run for becoming like an intimate with him in a conjugal affair. So
Now that's, I would say, they were on the stage of Raganuga. Raganuga, that's from Nectar Devotion. Raganuga Bhakta. Raganuga follows in the footsteps of a Ragatmika, a resident of Vrindavan, who is Nitya Siddha, an eternal associate of Krishna in the spiritual world. And that, in order to attain that position, they are performing Raganuga Bhakti, or they are reading about this associate and developing this love. So so they were at that stage developing this love internally. They were they were a bit like we have Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Internally was Rupa Manjari. That externally as sadhaka, he was Rupa Goswami. So and Srila Prabhupada explains in Nectar of Devotion that this does not depend on external material body, not female or male. No, they can. One can be in a male body and develop a relationship as a female with Krishna, or one can be in a female body and develop the sentiment of being a friend of Krishna, Gopa. But that is Raganuga Bhakti. That's far beyond liberation. So they were liberated sages on a very high level, and that to obtain Raganuga. Anyway, we should not perform Raganuga unless we are liberated. Otherwise, we will become putrefied, but not purified. So we have to be very careful with that. Therefore, it's good. anyway, we went to Nectar of Devotion last month for the devotees in Bulgaria for the Bhakti Shastri. And that's one of the points which is developed. So they were on that level. They were on that level of internally already having developed this conjugal love.
There's also we saw also see with Radhadesh Roy in Japan when they met with each other.
Yeah, that's
They met on that level, but then they had to see it for the outside.
Yeah, the outsiders, they could not understand that they were not devotees, so they restrained themselves because they were thinking, because they saw externally Ramananda Roy was the Sudra and Lord Stanya Brahman, how is a Brahman embracing a Sudra, and that's the bodily concept of life. They were on the spiritual, the spiritual relationship, but they restrained themselves. Good. Thank you very much. Good. Time is up. Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Ila Prabhupada ki.